Okay. All right, let me let a few more kids in, latecomers. How are you, Abby? Did you swim today?
No.
You said your uncle has a backyard pool and you were able to do some dipping?
Oh, yeah, that was like last week or 2 weeks ago or whatever.
Yeah. So
He
no water.
I was just going to visit.
Yeah. So where are you now? You're back home?
No, I'm in Berkeley. I live in Berkeley.
Okay. Okay. That's good. So one of the our swimmer, Nicole, she's on the call. She's really looking forward to joining Cal, and she said you were the first person text her, congratulate her when she committed. So she was very excited about it.
Oh, yeah, we're really excited to have her.
Yeah. All right. We have still more people coming in. So just so you guys know, as everybody join in, besides Abby's mic, y'all have to mute your mic, all right? We love to hear from you, but that's later, okay? Let's make sure you mute your mic to avoid all the noise. There we go. All right, so today we're very excited to have Abby. You know what? Before I even go into this long laundry list of her accomplishment, and I think this is somebody who we can really relate. She's a senior at Cal. But before we're gonna do that, I am going to share a screen and share something with you guys. 1 second. I am going to figure this out. 1 second.
That's Ethan who?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's him.
Mute your mic, please. Okay. So we are going to watch this together. Oh, something went wrong. Oh, it won't show. And you know what? It won't show YouTube video for some reason. Hold on, let me find this. Let me share on this one then. 1 second. We have all kinds of stuff going on. All right, everybody, we're gonna share this screen. 1 second. You guys see this screen here? All right. Jay, can you mute your screen, please? Mute your mic. Okay. There we go. Still gives me goosebumps. I don't know how many times I watched it, and it just brings so much joy, especially after the turn, the distance, that gap you opened up. So anyway, you guys, this is the first female swimmer ever in the history gone under 21 seconds in a 50-yard free. So we have Abby Weiser here just with the peak swimming only, and we feel very special. And thank you so much for spending your time with us, and we really appreciate it. in this audience and as well as our team, we have age groups from 6-year-olds all the way to 18, 19-year-olds, some in the college as well, now back in home. So, your experience, your story is super inspirational, and we want to hear from you. So how are you first?
Thank you so much. I haven't watched that video in a while, so it was pretty fun.
Did you get
I'm
goosebumps?
doing well. I'm doing well. I'm back in Berkeley. I did leave, but I'm back. I live here, so definitely a rough time for everyone in different ways. Just trying to stay. I'm actually ironically really busy still. Like I feel like the days go by so fast. I have so much to do. I got to work out, do my dry land. I have like Zoom calls, I have phone calls, I have all this kind of things going on. I have my puppy to watch out and take out. And so I just like have so much to do, and it's a different kind of busy, but it's nice to at least have something. So, yeah, I'm doing good.
That's so great to hear. So, what is a typical day now that we are all in quarantine? What is a typical day of Abi Wiesel? You get up and...
Yeah, so right now, my sleep schedule's a little off. I don't know why. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are in the same boat. I'm normally someone who goes to bed on the earlier side and wake up naturally, like early, obviously, if I have practice, but I normally will naturally wake up like my body's trained 7:38, but right now I like can't seem to wake up earlier than like 9:30, and I feel like it's like 6 a.m. I don't know why. But my sleep schedule's off. So normally I wake up and I have, I make a smoothie, I have my coffee. I'll take my dog on a bike ride, and then I'll come back and do some dry land and a little workout, and then I'll probably have a phone call or two. And then I'll normally just go. I have a couple friends in town that we've been quarantining together almost every day. So we'll make some dinner or do something and hang out in one of our houses. And that's pretty much my day.
So share with us about your swimming journey, because I think many of our young kids here want to hear, how did you get started? Who motivates you to just getting in a pool?
Yeah, so I started swimming when I was competitively, probably when I was about 12. I moved from Southern California to Northern California, back to Southern California. And when I was about 9 in Northern California, I swam on a Parks and Rec team for about like 2 months out of the year. Wasn't my favorite thing. Tried club swimming, didn't like it, quit. Then I moved back to Southern California, and the only option was club swimming. And there was no Parks and Rec team. I had to go full year round or nothing. And something was drawing me back to swimming. I didn't want to quit. So I joined club, and I was probably about 12 at this time, almost 13 maybe. And I still didn't like it. Never went to Friday practices, never went to Saturday practices. Just wasn't my thing, honestly. And then one day I remember I was walking out of a Thursday night practice, and one of my friends was like, "Hey, are you coming to Friday practice tomorrow?" And I was like, "No." And they were like, "Oh my gosh, like Coach Vicky, she's not coming tomorrow." And then my coach was like, "You better be here or you're going to be in trouble." And I was like, "Ugh, fine." And then I showed up, and then what do you know, from then on out, I went to every single practice, and my career started to excel. I ironically was a breaststroker when I was younger. I almost got my first junior national cut in the 100 breaststroke long course. Yeah. I went like a 114 when I was like 13 years old.
That's good.
Never again will I even come close to that time in a 100 breaststroke. That was like a one time and done kind of situation for me. The first junior national cut, I eventually got it in freestyle. National cut, got my first Olympic trials cut at junior nationals, went to 2012 Olympic trials, 2014 rolls around, 2013 made my first junior national junior team for Team USA. 2014 rolls around, made my first national team, went to Pan Pacs that year, and ever since I've been on the national team and gone to every meet every summer since 2014. So I'm a 6-year long, I'm kind of like I'm not really a rookie anymore, which is kind of crazy to me. I mean, I feel like I am, but I'm a little bit of a veteran because I'm not one of the youngest on the team anymore. But it's really awesome. My career really excelled really fast. I'm very lucky to have had that, but I also feel like I worked really hard for it. And 2015 is when I graduated high school. And that was a hard decision because I was supposed to go to Cal Berkeley this fall of 2015. And that was right before Olympic year. And I decided to defer my first year at Cal in order to stay home and train with my current coach at the time. And that was hard because all my friends were going off to college and I wanted to go. And, I just decided to stay home and be a pro for that time and only do swimming. And I wasn't in school. The only thing I did every day was swim and think about swimming and think anything I did was benefiting my swimming. Anything I ate was benefiting my swimming. And it was hard. It was hard mentally. It was very emotional sometimes because I was just, I was a 19-year-old girl who wanted to, I was 18, 19, turned 19 in the middle, who wanted to just be at freshman year at college, and it was a lot to take on, just swimming and going through that mental pressure and being like, well, what if I don't make the team? I'm doing all this for nothing, and that was a big mental block for me. But honestly, I wouldn't change anything right now. It worked out and I'm really happy that I had that discipline during that year and came to college and struggled a bit. And I would love if you guys have any questions, but I went through some struggles my freshman and sophomore year and I'm happy to talk about those. But I didn't know, things started to not go right in my swimming and I didn't know how to handle it properly. And I really didn't know how to get out of a downward spiral that I was going down, physically, emotionally, everything, even swimming, things in my life. And junior year, I finally came out of it and was able to gain some confidence back and finally started to excel in my swimming. I had great NCAAs last year. My team did amazing. It was one of the funnest meets I've ever been to. Finally was able to, re-break my record in the 50 free and get back on top in that. And then this past winter was able to, finally go 20 point, which was really awesome. I'm so happy I actually got to do that before all this happened because I wouldn't have been able to do it at NCs this year. I definitely had some bigger goals. I wanted to go faster at NCs and I had some goals in the 100 and even the 200 free. Sadly didn't get to do those, but I am really happy that I was able to do the 50 at my midseason meet and just, break that barrier down at least before I was, canceled or retired from NCAA, which I am now. So starting the pro life. And yeah, that's my timeline of a story. I'm really happy to go into more detail or answer any questions anyone has about anything. I'm an open book. So anything about swimming, anything about life.
Right. So if we go backwards, right, I understand that during that epic 50 free, by the way, that not only you're happy, I believe the whole world is really happy to see because you were just knocking on the door like, is she going to do it? She's going to do it. Yes, she did it, right? It just at that point, and everybody is celebrating your success with you. And it just brings so much joy just watching something, just so exciting and uplifting for all of us and very encouraging for all the swimmers. And, knowing it's humanly possible for a female athlete to go under 21. So, it's really exciting. And if I remember correctly, there was a report saying that you hurt your shoulder at the finish. You reached so hard and it was such a high speed. And how did that happen?
So that was not at my midseason meet. That was, so last year NCAAs, I hurt my elbow on the finish during the 2 medley relay. I anchored that. It was the second day of swimming and the third day, second and a half. And I injured my elbow. I misjudged the wall and came in and so I naturally have hyperextended elbows, if you can see.
Wow. Yeah.
I put my arms out straight. So what I did was I misjudged the wall instead of fingertip and then letting my back hit like I do. I was getting really tired. I just completely thought the wall was farther than it was. and I came in and hit my palm straight. I palm hit the wall and my elbow jerked back.
Ouch.
And I slightly, they didn't know what was wrong with it. I was in the hospital until like 2 a.m. that night. I didn't break the bone, but there might have been like, some hairline fractures in there. Definitely, I woke up the next day and my whole arm was swollen. I couldn't move it. It was a lot of nerve pain and a lot of nerve, inflammation. And so that was what was wrong then. And then I swear I'll never do this again. But this year at Pac-12s during the 50 free, I did the same exact thing, which is really weird because this has never happened to me before. And I practice finishes all the time. And I came in and I did the same exact thing. But this time my elbow, I felt it right away. It wasn't as bad as last year's NCs, but this time it really impacted my shoulder. And so I've still today, I had, I saw my PT today, but I'm still getting PT on my shoulder. I couldn't swim after that. I didn't finish Pac-12s this year because I couldn't do a race because my coach was like, you know what, it's not worth it. We have NCs coming up. It's not worth, making it worse to finish out Pac-12s when we have NCs. Looking back, I wish I swam because it was my last meet, but I didn't know that. And so definitely injured my shoulder, but that's what happened for me injury wise. Luckily it didn't happen during the midseason meet, but yeah, I've struggled. I will never do that again, I swear. But yes.
Well, just so, I think that everybody is, understand, like people a lot of times when they're in practice, they're fearful, right? As coaches, we'll always tell them, hey, you got to go attack the wall. I mean, I think that this is the best example of how hard you're going to attack that wall. You're really throwing whole force onto the wall, including popping your elbow out.
Yeah. Honestly, I think like I've always struggled. So I've been known throughout my career, like my coaches and me personally, like I'll be ahead until the last in a race. I could be ahead until the last 5 yards and somehow I get out touched. And I think it's just my finishes were just not, I wasn't touching the pad right. I was diving in my finish. I was slowing down into my finish. And so I really just started working on my finishes and then taper, suit up. Especially the first time I did it, I was from a swing. I was at the end of a relay, which a lot more momentum. And I think I was just going faster than I thought or what I was used to because I was tapered and I was suited and I just was coming into the wall way faster than I thought. I mean, it was my fastest split and I just thought the wall was, I thought I had a little more room and I didn't. But
you got there before you thought about it.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, I still now like I am so cautious about my finishes, even in practice. So really working on that timing, but definitely trying not to slow down into the wall out of fear because that is something that I used to do and then hurt my arm not doing it. So definitely tweaking, but that is just comes to show like practice is so important just because I do have my finish down. But you just got to practice going full speed in there and practice finishing full speed.
So what do you say that when you switched from breaststroke to freestyle as an age grouper, right? And from 12, right? When you first, or 11, when you first made junior nationals, right? Mm-hmm. And it was 100 breaststroke. What was your age group training like? Was that IM based? There was a particular stroke that you emotionally towards to and more, willingly to do that particular stroke? And how is it, we all know breaststrokers are completely different species, right? And how does that like a breaststroke to freestyle translate?
Yeah, I mean, I still train all strokes. I mean, as you get older, it's known to, you specialize in one stroke, normally one or two, which I do. I do a lot of freestyle, but I still train a lot of strokes. I still do IM practices sometimes. They're not my best ever, but I still do them. And when we do like pace or fast things, I won't do them all free. I'll switch up. I still do breaststroke. I still do back and fly. I enjoy switching up strokes a lot. I think if you can figure out a ways to go fast in a different stroke, it can really help your best stroke. And I like anytime I'm doing backstroke, I think about certain things that can relate to my freestyle, breaststroke. It's just finding different ways to move through the water, I think, and like feeling the water in different ways. And if you can get good at that, maybe it's not going to be your best, but if you can, do that. And it's just nice to do a different stroke sometimes. If I'm struggling with my freestyle that day and I don't feel like carrying my time because I'm not going as fast as I want to,
take that mental pressure off.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm really not hitting my pace today. And sometimes I'll like force myself to be like, okay, I need to do another round freestyle because that was so bad. But sometimes I'm like, you know what? I can't mentally hear a bad time in my freestyle right now, so I'm gonna do this backstroke. I think it's just good to switch up strokes, and I still do all strokes all the time. I do aerobic practices, I do sprint practices. I honestly do it all, and I think it's I like it because I like finding things that I'm good at differently.
That's really interesting. Oh, hey,
there's my dog.
So cute. You know what? This time having a pet is definitely blessing from the blessing from the skies.
Yeah, he's a puppy.
Yeah, I personally, I have a puppy too, 7.5 months old. I'll bring
he's
him
7.
down.
Mine's 7. Yeah.
Yeah. So exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, it's interesting to hear from a sprint specialist and still doing aerobic workouts and distance and all other strokes. And I'm sure, it's a swimmer's dream that they only race 25s or 50s and only train for 25s and 50s.
Oh,
to
yeah.
Hear from you that you're still doing whole lot other things. Just we all know this really increase a lot of things that is translatable and transferable between strokes to strokes and distance as well, and course set up and increase the body awareness in your proprioceptors, and so that when you actually doing your main stroke, it helps all that the information, the practices that feeds into that particular stroke that your specialty is, right?
Yeah.
So you were on junior national team when you were 14?
In 2013. So yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We do have a junior national team member on call. He's 18, but he got an Ethan Hu. So he got named on the roster last year.
And congratulations!
Thank you. Yeah. We were supposed to do the junior national training camp. I was supposed to be teaching. Mm-hmm. We have to say it was first week of April, and we got canceled. So share a little bit about your junior national team experience. How is it different going from your club team to a group of one of the best 18 under swimmers in the U.S. or maybe even in the whole world, right? How is that different?
So I mean, it was a while ago. For me, it was about almost 7 years ago that I made that team. I just remember I made the team because I think I got like 5th in the 100 free at junior nationals one year, but then I won the 50 free at juniors. This is long course, and made the meet that summer. And I went to Dubai for junior world champs. And it was just awesome because I don't know if you've been to, if Ethan's been to any other international meets before.
Myself, I used to come to China, so it's different nowadays. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's really cool. It was just a cool experience to be, recognized as being the best. And I know for me, like getting, my first cap, my international, my first cap and racing for my team, for Team USA was just awesome. And it was a different experience because, it's not like any other meet I had been to. I'd been to club meets and, high level meets for club and like sectionals and all the meets that I had like tapered for and everything. And then I finally was able to, go on the international stage and, go through prelims, go through semifinals, go through finals, and go through the whole international setup. And it was just awesome. You meet a lot of people, which is one of my favorite things about the sport is you just meet so many people. So you meet people from around the country, you meet people from other countries, and that was just a totally new experience. But just be able to travel and see what it's like and, wear your country's gear and just like represent a different team in such a big way was so cool, and it was so fun. And I just posted a photo actually, like 2 Instagram posts ago or something like that, as a throwback from 2013 with Kathleen and Katie. A throwback of us at our first junior national trip in Dubai. So that was funny. But yeah, it was just awesome. And just like I said, meeting so many people like Katie and Kathleen, who I had met before, but like we're now really good friends. But you know, we met on a junior national team 7 years ago, and so you'll meet people, and just it's awesome.
And so moving forward, at 2016 U.S. Olympic trials, you won both 50 and 100, and you know, how was that? You know, obviously you made it to the Olympic teams and eventually won gold and silver on those relays, but you know, I think it's a little bit more relatable for our kids who are going to the trials next year. You know, how nervous were you, and how, like, walk us through that?
Yeah. So Olympic trials is honestly, like, I could argue my favorite meet ever. It's so fun. I don't know if anyone here been to trials before?
Nicole probably have. Nicole's been all the world championships and stuff. So, but these younger kids, they haven't. No.
Okay. So Olympic trials honestly is like I said, one of my favorite meet. It's like, because swimming in the US is so big. We're like the best swimming country out there, arguably. And so I think like it's just, we have such a huge fan base, and like so many people go to watch it, and so many people are there swimming, and it's just crazy. I mean, I went in 2012, but I was honestly like, I had made it and I was just going there to experience it and swim. Obviously I was like nowhere near making a team or anything. But in 2016, it was a huge moment because, like I said, I had taken a whole year to just train for this meet. And so it was a lot of pressure. But I remember like feeling so confident going into that meet that I was just so excited. And the 100, so I did the 200. This is a funny story. I did the 200 free first. I wasn't planning on like doing it. I was there for the 100 and the 50, but I did the 2 free, which was the second day. So it was before both of my events. And I did it just to get a swim out of the way, get my nerves, swim, done. I went out for prelims, and my coach was like, okay, as easy and smooth as you can, just to like practice like your race for the 100, just 100 smooth, as fast as you can, as easy as you can. And I was like, okay. And so I record pace. Like I was just like, I remember everyone was like, what are you doing? Because I slipped at like a 55.3 or something, and then I died. But can you hear me?
It's a little bit shaky. The audio is a little bit shaky.
Is that better? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Is this better?
It's perfect. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, like I said, my coach told me go out as easy and smooth. So I flipped at like a 55.3 and then died so hard. And I got out of that race, and my coach was like, 2 things. 1, I should have told you to swim that race normally because you probably would have gone really fast. 2, your 100 free is going to be really fast because you looked so smooth like going out. So it was just funny. But I remember I got out of that race and everyone was like, what were you doing? Like, why did you go? Like, hello? And I was like, don't worry. My coach told me to do it. Like, I wasn't being stupid. I was trying to swim 100. But yeah, that was just that was a crazy, funny experience and really painful. But then the 100 free came around. Prelims went good. Semis went well. Semis are really hard to get through, honestly, mentally, just because I feel like you're just making it to the finals. Once you're in the final, that's the easiest part. Semis is really hard, but made it through semis. I was coming into finals first, and so I got to swim in lane 4. And when you're in Olympic trials and you're in a final, they walk you out one at a time. And I remember I was back in the ready room and I was going to be the last one marched out because I was in lane 4. And I was fine until I got in the ready room and I started to get so nervous. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm about to swim a race that I just trained a whole year for, solely this meet, this moment, like this is it. And I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And then I was like, okay, wait, hold on. I've done this a million times. I'm fine. Like I'll be fine. And then everyone started marching out and they would call a name and they would call a name. And then I remember stepping out and I had already been on the stage, you know, I had been out in prelims and semis and the 200 free. And I like, remember they like call my name and the directors back there are like, okay, walk. And so they're like, you're up. And I was like, okay. So I like remember walking out and just like the stage was just, I thrive off of, I love the pressure of swimming like at a high stake and I love the crowd. And I just remember walking out, the lights are shining, so you can't see very much, but I just remember hearing the crowd and it was so loud. And I was just like, this is crazy. Like, what is about to happen? Like, I'm about to swim to make the Olympic team. And like, I knew my family was up to the left. I knew my friends were over to the right. I knew where everyone was. And I was like, I couldn't see, so I wasn't trying to look, but I just remember the cameras like walking out with me. And I was like, all right, here I go. And I ended up winning that race. I could not tell you what I was thinking about during the race. I barely even remember. I don't know. Do people always say like, when you have a really good race, you don't remember it? And I don't remember it at all.
You were in the zone.
Yeah, I remember seeing a number 1 next to my name though. I remember finishing and I look up and at the big screen thing and I was like, it takes me a second, like, you know, it's so many things. And I was like trying to look and I remember like seeing a 1 next to my name and I was just like, oh my gosh, I did it. Like, what the heck? Am I dreaming? I was like, wait, I did it. And that was just an awesome moment. I remember, you know, giving someone a hug next to me and waving to my family that I couldn't really see, but I knew they were in that direction.
With the flame going on too, with the flames on the sides
yeah,
too.
everything was happening and I was just like, what is going on? But it was really, really fun. And I remember my parents were right at the standing right behind the little wall
Box.
in the seats. Yeah, they had walked down and were standing right there waiting for me. So I ran over and gave them a hug and it was just so cool. And then, you know, 2 days later, the 50, or the next day actually, 50 free prelims and semis, and then the day after that, it's 50 free final. Same thing. I remember walking out, but just a different type of nerve. You know, I was like, I already made the team and I had the most confidence in the world. I was like on a high. I was like, let's go. I was ready. And yeah, that was really fun too. It was able to get my hand to the wall in that race as well. But yeah, it was just an incredible experience. And whoever's going next year, it's going to be a blast. Can't wait. But yeah, that was my experience. It was just a lot of excitement. I remember not being able to sleep because I was too excited. But yeah,
that sounds fun, but it's also really interesting to see how you internalize and control your nerves. Because many of us kids nowadays struggle, right? They get the bigger stage they get, right? The pressure gets bigger, you know, respectfully, but you know, how you process that, right? You tell yourself, Abby, you've done this millions of times, right? It's maybe different venue, different pool, but at race, you've done it so many times. And that you were able to calm down your nerves and, you know, really get yourself excited. You know, nervous and excitement are a little different, and
yeah.
You're getting peak performance there. Yeah.
I find it really easy a lot. I get asked this question all the time. It's like, how do you control your nerves? Like that's a question that a lot of people have. And I honestly tell them like a couple different things. I say, one, I like to say it to a friend, you know, I think it's like, you got to accept the fact that you're nervous, and how I get over it is normally like, if I was at NCAAs or something, I'd be like, I'd look over to a friend that I trust or I like hang out with or whatever, and one of my good friends, and I'll be like, I'm so nervous. And they'll be like, yeah, it's okay, you got it. And like just saying it, I was like, I feel better. I was like, I'm good. Like I'm nervous still, but like I feel a lot better just saying that out loud and accepting it. And then, all right, here I go. I'm nervous and that's okay. And then number two, I like just channel it into like, you're nervous because you're excited and because you're like, you care. You're nervous because, you know, there's so much internally that you want to do good. And I think that's like exciting. You know, I do my best. I love feeling like really jittery behind the blocks, you know, part of it's the coffee, but like I also like am like I love feeling like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, like jittery, like can't stand still. If you ever watch me behind the blocks, I'm like I can't stop moving. And like when I finally like stand behind the blocks, like my fingers are like I like can't stop moving. And I love that feeling. I think like that's something that a lot of people like who have retired now like say they miss is like the feeling of racing. And so I think just like embracing it and being like, I get to race, like, because it's so fun. That's one of the things I love about swimming. And so, yeah, that's how I control my nerves is just saying it out loud and just being like, I can't wait. I'm so excited.
That's so awesome. I mean, that's really great to hear, you know, people, a great swimmer like you and been in all levels of swim meets and go through all that pressure and you still get that shakiness of feeling behind the blocks and still get that adrenaline pumping and I think the best ability to have that elite athlete to be able to do that is being able to control and channel that energy and going in out there and still be able to focus the skills of racing, the process of racing, right?
Yeah.
So let's move forward with college. How is having a female coach, big legend Terry McGeever, as a coach that's different? And how is that, you know, or maybe change your thought of swimming, or how is there anything that's different?
Yeah, so I grew up with I had one female coach before, but not for very long. I grew up with mostly male coaches. And so coming to Cal, Terry is obviously a very well-known and successful coach. And I think that coming into Cal, I was like, so sorry, my puppy is like going crazy right now. It was like so awesome to have a female coach because something she taught me a lot was, you know, to not only be so oh, your puppy. So cute. Here's mine.
Just want to say hi. They're same age. They're same age.
Yeah, they are.
All right.
Something I learned from her a lot was to, you know, swimming is she's about, you know, building the athlete, but also building the person. And that's what I love is she wants you to experience life and also experience swimming. And that is something I took away huge, you know, like my whole life is swimming, but also there's a lot outside of swimming. And just to, you know, enjoy the journey a lot more and, you know, grow as a person and then as an athlete. And that's something I think that is special about Terry, not only as a female coach, but just in general, is that she cares so much about you as a person. And like you as a person comes first before the athlete. Like, you know, if you struggle or if you're struggling as a, you know, emotionally or something, she understands that. And I think that that's really awesome about having a female coach is just because females are more emotional as who we are. And so she really understands, like, if you're struggling that day or anything, like, she's like, just tell me. And like, I won't like, you know, have as big of expectations for you that day. Or, you know, it's just something like more just like, less like, I'm going to scream at you all the time because you're not doing something right. It's like, okay, like if you are struggling, you know, why? And like, let's fix that. Let's fix you as a person before we, you know, try and succeed as an athlete. Because if you're not happy, I believe you're not going to swim as fast. And so being happy is most important, and finding ways throughout your day to be excited and happy other than swimming is really important too. You know, not depending on swimming only as a thing. Cause you know, things like this, we don't have swimming right now. And you know, it could be really bad if you're like, all I have is swimming and now I don't have it. And it's so like finding other things in life to like really enjoy and finding another hobby or something that you really love to do is really important, I think. And that's honestly something that I've learned in the past 4 years and taken away from Cal Swimming is just like enjoying the journey. And sounds really cheesy, like enjoy the journey, but honestly it's so true. And 4 years, everyone says this and you never believe it until it's gone, but like 4 years goes by so fast. And everyone kept telling me that, like, it goes by so fast. And I'm like, yeah, honestly, I'm still in sophomore year and I don't believe you. But now I'm like, okay, my senior year is over and now I believe you because I remember freshman year like it was yesterday. And so it's like, you'll never believe anyone until it's over, but it goes by really fast. And I just learned, you know, to appreciate the small moments, you know. Yeah, that's what I did a lot of it to Terry.
You did mention that you struggled a little bit on the freshman year and sophomore year. Could you share with us a little bit, and what was that actual turning point? Could you recall, and what happened?
Yeah, so I, you know, everyone at one point in their journey has like a struggle. And I think that it's important to know that everyone goes through it at different times and at different levels. And no matter who you are, whether you're the best in the world or you're a club swimmer or any level that you're at, so you're going to struggle at some point and with something. And I think that it's really, I struggled because everything in my career went really fast. And so everything just always went up. Everything always was going right. I kept dropping time. I kept excelling. I kept making meets. Everything kept happening. And I was, you know, I spent my whole time trying to get to the top. 2016, I got to the top. And then I went to college, and there was a huge, sorry, he's hungry. There was a huge like mental break because everything was changing. My coaches changed. I was living on my own. The typical college freshman experience was happening. I had changed training environments. I had changed everything. And what I was doing before was working. And so coming into a new coaching style, I was like, is this going to work? And I started questioning every single thing we were doing because I had been with the same coach before for like 5 or 6 years and I knew it worked. So anything we did that I knew he would have never done, I was like, wait, is this right? Should I be doing this? And so none of it was Terry or the team or anything. It was me questioning myself. And I didn't know this at the time. So everything started to go wrong. And this was the first time in my swimming career where things weren't going right. And I didn't know how to handle that. And I was, you know, starting to be like, well, if this is going bad, then like this sucks and this sucks. And I started going downward in a downward that weren't going right either. And I didn't know, like, it just made everything seem worse. You know, one thing goes bad and it made another thing seem bad. And so that is really what I struggled with. And, you know, anytime I stepped behind the blocks, I didn't have confidence. I was like questioning everything I was doing. I was questioning my training. I was questioning everything anytime I stepped behind the blocks. And I think that's what was really, actually, I know that's what was hindering my performance. And finally, I realized that this is what was going on and that I just needed to fully trust in the program and in my coach. And that was a big turning point, is like, you know, I came in every day ready to go. I had some of the best training in a long, long time. I was just putting everything in and like pulling full effort in and just believing in every single practice that we did. And honestly, it worked out and I wasn't questioning myself and I was finding my confidence again. And that is honestly the big turning point I was having. So that's honestly what it was, is me questioning myself and just honestly gaining confidence back. And my confidence for me is a huge thing in my swimming. If I'm stepping up behind the blocks and I'm like, am I going to win? I don't know. Then I'm not going to win. Like, I need to be behind the blocks and be like, all right, I got this. And I may not win, but like, it would be, that's my like key for me, is feeling like I've done everything that I can for this race right now.
So what is your go-to phrase that you say to yourself behind the block?
I don't have a go-to phrase, I don't think. There's just, I can't explain it. There's a feeling that I get behind the blocks when I just know that I'm gonna go fast. There's like a feeling that I get, and sometimes I like to visualize my race right before it. Something I started doing with races I'm more nervous with, like the 200 free or something, is I start to envision it before I race, and I'll be like, okay, at the 125, I'm probably going to start to feel fatigued. And then I'm going to be like, okay, because everyone knows, like, sometimes when you get into a race and all of a sudden you start feeling pain, which is what you train for, but you're like, oh no, like, oh no. And so I like to prepare myself mentally. No matter how trained you are, you can always get into that mindset. And so I like to sit behind the box and, like, I'll close my eyes and, like, imagine myself, okay, this is probably when it's going to start hurting. And how am I going to get through that? Like, just stay calm. I think a lot of things that people have, like, do when they start to hurt is they start to panic. And it's like, oh my God, I can't breathe. Oh my God, I still have so much longer to go. Oh my God, I literally can't breathe. Can't do this turn. And so I think that's just, like, that's at least what happens to me. And so I like to prepare myself that it's going to be uncomfortable and how I'm going to process that thought when it comes in the race. And it's like, okay, that's like a big step forward I've done in my two free in the last year, is like just preparing myself before the race that it's going to be uncomfortable. And how do I work through that? So that's something I like to do behind the blocks as well. And you'll see me jumping around back there, but can't stop moving around. But yeah, there's not really a phrase that I say to myself.
That's really helpful. Still just having that intuition, right? Knowing and visualization, practicing that and in your mind before you're actually doing it physically. We've got questions.
Yeah.
They said, how much are you running during shelter in place? Are you running at all? Zero. Swimmers are not very good on running, right?
I don't like running. I hate running, actually. If you like running, go for it, like, enjoy it. But I personally don't believe that if you don't like running that you need to force yourself to run. If you like it, props to you. I just don't like it. And honestly, I have bad, like, hips and knees, so it really doesn't feel great for me. Yeah. So yeah, I don't believe that it's, like, necessary. So I am running zero.
Another question is, what would be the very first thing you do when you actually get back into a pool? What would be the first thing you do?
Probably freak out because I don't feel good in the water, but the first thing I'll do, probably just swim a few laps and try and find my stroke a bit. I know it's like when you get back in the water, like, you feel like you're like a worm or something, and you're just like, you can't do anything. So I think trying to find my old stroke and see what it feels like.
Yeah. We do another question. One last question is, now you're pro, right? What are you looking forward to? I mean, life, you're still at Berkeley, you're still training, but without school, you guys will have a graduation virtually, or is there going to be graduation? Because one of my old swimmers, Jack, is also in the same class. Jack Shear is also senior, so.
It might happen in December. Okay. They aren't sure yet.
Okay. So what are you looking forward to as in a pro life?
Honestly, I don't know. It's weird right now because starting pro life isn't normal because, this is all happening. So I'm not going to any meets or anything. Right. Probably just being able to fully focus more on swimming. And go to more meets and do more long course meets before Olympic year instead of all the short course dual meets would be nice.
Right. I said it was the last question, but I lied. One more. You did say that having a hobby, right? Don't let swimming define you, right? Having a hobby is important. So what is yours?
So I'm a very social person, and so I love hanging out with friends and, like, cooking and doing all that stuff. But I like to draw a lot. I draw and paint, not very often, but I love to do that occasionally. And I recently started to try and grow a plant, so we'll see how that goes. Because I know I'm trying to grow cilantro, which I just started it like 5 days ago, so it's not sprouting yet. But my sisters and my mom and, like, everyone gardens and has, like, a little garden, and I don't have a space. I don't have a backyard because I live on a balcony. I live in an apartment. I have a balcony, but so I'm growing it in a pot. So we're gonna see. I really am trying to get into the whole plant situation. But yeah, I think just finding little things little
make sure
things
you
that you like
post
to do. Like I
pictures of
said,
your plant. Make sure you
I
post.
will. I'll when it grows.
the pictures.
Hopefully,
Yeah, yeah.
hopefully I don't kill it, but I'll try.
No, need to post.
But
post
yeah,
it
I think
if
just
you do.
I know. I think just like also I have a dog, so that's my hobby. I guess you could say like I run my dog on the bike, or like take him to the park or something like that. So definitely my dog is my hobby even now, but like I said, drawing or cooking or something like that I think is really fun. And I know a lot of people have time to like cook and stuff. So if you're into cooking, which is amazing, try new recipes or like I don't know, like I think it's so fun. Find something, try and grow a plant. I don't know. Like I think it's gonna be awesome just to find something new that you like to do. No matter how young you are, you can always find something. Like
Right.
ask your mom and be like, "Can I grow a plant?" And maybe she'll let you.
Well, Abby, thank you so much. This has been so much fun chatting with you and learn about your journey. And best of luck during this.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you at, whatever next meet's gonna be, and good luck with everything. Take care.
Thank you. I'm sure the next meet that's open will be very packed.
Very, very happy to be
Thank
there.
you guys.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.